In the name of Allah. Dear daughter, may God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. I am writing this letter to you, hoping to God Almighty that you will like it, and inspire you. Write about one of the many Quranic topics. Writing relaxes the soul, teaches patience, and increases knowledge. The Messenger of God, praise and peace upon him, said, when I entered the second heaven, Gabriel described the scene and said, Adam, Puh, is sitting on the chair, on his right are blacks that are the souls of the believers, and on his left are blacks that are the souls of the non-believers. Less than 100 years ago, man made a black box. Inside it are hard disks, protecting them from crashing and burning. It is placed in every plane. It contains 2 records that record what happens in the cockpit and passengers, and the other records what happens to the devices. When it stops, open the doors, or when the plane crashes, writing stops. It helps experts determine the external or internal cause and causator, direct charges, and assess the punishment. Hundreds or tens of thousands of years ago, God created man. 1,400 years ago, the Holy Quran describes the work of the Spirit as follows. God Almighty says, so when I have shaped it and breathed into it from my Spirit, chapter 15/verse 29. Quran.com/n/15/2. God Almighty says, O people, fear your Lord, who created you from a single soul. Indeed, God has been a watcher over you. 4/1. God Almighty says, we have shown him the way, whether he is grateful or ungrateful. 3/76. God Almighty says, we have created man and we know what his soul whispers about. 50/17. God Almighty says, as the 2 recipients receive on the right and on the left, sitting. 50/17. These noble Quranic verses indicate, the spirit of man is from the Spirit of God. Man cannot see it. It is eternal and does not die, nor is it destroyed or burned. 2 noble angels, one at right and one at left, writing, whispers, words and deeds, of man. Inside it is a writing file called soul. God Almighty says, God takes souls when they die, and those who did not die in their sleep. 39:40 seconds. God Almighty says, and every soul came with it a driver and a witness. 50:20. Came to the home of the afterlife, before the just full judge, the King Allah. The earth and its beings and adornments will end on a day that the Quran emphasizes in every surah. This day has many names, including the Day of Reckoning. Surah Al-Takwir depicts this day beyond any room for doubt, as if it had happened before or was happening now, confirming the words of God Almighty, as we began the first creation we will redo, a promise upon us that we were to do. 21/104, surely, the criminal who escaped punishment in this world, his punishment will be more severe in the afterlife. God closes the spirit, and is satisfied with what is written, in the state of death and sleep. So where do dreams come from? It is from the subconscious, involuntary mind, so the soul is not responsible for the actions of the subconscious mind. For example, he the messenger, Puh, said, Satan flows through the body like blood in the veins, so night dreams are, involuntary, and the disturbing nightmares. Likewise, daytime dreams distract a person and keep him away from reality. In a moment, the apparent mind wakes up to find itself in a desert, imagination. Far from the miserable and depressing reality, all this agony, compulsory and miss for your soul and all other touched souls, convert by the mercy of Allah to convenience and blessings. May God protect you from all evil, protect you, take care of you, and ease your path to all goodness. https, Quran.com n.2.255. May God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you.